Hello everybody, my name is Mars, you can call me MG if you would like, and today I have for you a good old-fashioned reading vlog, the theme of which is horror books because that's just what I've been in the mood for, so that's what I'm gonna read. I did check out 2 books from the library probably about 2 weeks ago at this point, and I got the email this morning that they were ready for me to pick up. So I did in fact go do that, and I have them here for you, so I'll show you what I've got. I have Chlorine by Jade Song. This is like a coming-of-age type novel about a high school girl on the swim team, and something happens. I don't know beyond that. I just know it's going to be a horror novel, and I'm very excited. I first heard about this last summer, and I only ever had access to the audiobook, but now I've got the physical copy, which I'm so excited for because I'm not really one for just listening to audio. That's not how I best take information in, so now I can read along, and it's quite short, so I feel like I should be able to get through this pretty easily. I also checked out a new release. This book just came out in February, and that is The Lamb by Lucy Rose. I love this cover. I think it's stunning. I'm sorry about the glare from the library plastic on it. But like I said, this book just came out a couple of months ago, and I saw Gemma from Creeps and Geeks talking about this book, and she loved it, and I'm like, that sounds real good, and I trust her taste in horror novels, so I got it from the library, and I cannot wait to read it. However, I can't read either of those just yet, because I decided to, on a whim, put up a poll in one of the Discord servers that I am a part of, one of the bookish ones, and say, hey, out of these 3 books, which one should I read first? And the one that won that poll was not, in fact, either of the library books that I have, but the one that I own physically. I got this out of a little free library earlier this year, or maybe late last year, I don't know. I've only had it for a few months, so not super long, but a little while. And that book is The Mary Shelley Club by Goldie Moldavsky. I don't know why that felt hard to pronounce, but this is another YA like Chlorine. I believe The Lamb is adult, and this takes place at a school, which we know I love, and she's a scholarship student, the main character, so she's kind of struggling to fit in, and then there's a prank that goes wrong, and she attracts the attention of a mysterious society of students who orchestrate elaborate pranks known as fear tests, which are inspired by urban legends and movie tropes. That sounds so fun. I believe this book was originally published with a different name, like The Last Final Girl or something like that, and then it was republished as The Mary Shelley Club. So I'm interested in why that change happened. Also, I love this cover. I am very hit or miss when it comes to covers with people on them, but I think this, with like the profile and the bright red lettering, I think it's stunning. So this is the one I will be starting with. It is also the longest of the bunch. It is 466 pages, so still not super long, but like getting to be chunky. So I will start this today and give you updates as I go along. Good morning, friends, and happy Wednesday. I believe it's Wednesday. I am now a third of the way into the Mary Shelley Club, so I figured I would come on here and give you my initial thoughts. And my initial thoughts are I'm not loving this, and I think it has to do with the writing style. I swear these cars were not going past 5 minutes ago. Whatever. I'm tired of being annoyed at cars going by when I'm trying to film. So, in this book, we have Rachel, who in the prologue, which the prologue is written in 3rd person, but a traumatic experience happens to her, and it actually cuts out right before the actual events. That was a truck, I think. That sounded like a truck. Anyway, it cuts out right before the actual traumatic thing happens, but you get all of the build up, and then it cuts to chapter 1, which is a year later, and it is first person from Rachel's perspective, which was an interesting choice. Like, why is the prologue in third person if the rest of the book is going to be in first person? But it's not the rest of the book. I will get there. But basically, she has started attending this new school. She's really only got like one friend because she feels so out of place there because they're all like these super rich kids at this prep school, and the reason why she gets to go to school there is because her mom is a teacher. But she does have one friend who drags her along to a party, and things happen. She becomes even more of a social outcast than she already was. But then she kind of like pieces some things together about the event that made her a social outcast at this party, and long story short, she joins this super secret group called the Mary Shelley Club, and their whole thing is they get together, watch horror movies, and pull pranks on people to scare them. Although they hate the word pranks, they're called fear tests, and there's like all these rules associated with it. It's kind of ridiculous, but you know what? It's fine. These are high school students, they're allowed to be ridiculous. And like I said, I'm not a huge fan of the writing style. I don't like Rachel as a protagonist. I think she's kind of annoying. There are a lot of name drops of horror movies because she became a horror movie aficionado after her traumatic event that like kind of was a way for her to cope. And I feel like those name drops are kind of just the author being like, look at how many horror movies I know the names of. Aren't I so smart and knowledgeable about this topic? Smart and knowledgeable are synonyms. I don't know why I said both. Whatever. It feels like they're so shoehorned in there. But it's fine. The last chapter that I read, though, which was chapter 16, that chapter was really good. I had genuinely been considering DNFing this before I got to chapter 16 because it's just such a shift. It is one of these fear tests actually happening, and we cut to third person again instead of first person, and it's third person limited following the person that they're pulling this fear test on, this guy that they're trying to scare. And I thought that was so well done, the tension, the pacing, all of it. And I'm like, dang, maybe this book should have just been in third person, and that would alleviate some of my annoyances with it. But alas, it is not. It is just strange to cut randomly to it in the middle of the book, like a random chapter, to change the POV, but it's been done before. It's nothing unusual, it's just rare. So I am going to continue on and see what happens. Oh, another thing, we did get a reveal already of the traumatic event that happened, so like we got that lead up in the prologue and then it cuts. But we've already learned what the traumatic event is, and I feel like it came super early, but at the same time, I don't know, maybe it needed to come this early so that other reveals can happen later. I will just have to keep reading and find out, so keep reading, I will, and hopefully I enjoy the rest of this more than I liked the first bit, because I wasn't loving it, but it's enough to keep me going. So I will continue this later on and give you an update at some point. Maybe at 2/3, maybe at the end. I don't know. We'll find out together. Hello, friends. I am back. It is Wednesday evening. I have carved out the last couple of hours to read because why not? And I have in fact finished the Mary Shelley Club, which, by the way, this rip was there when I got it. I got this book at a little free library. I did not damage this book. I take good care of my books. Um, anyway, I have finished it, and this book was fine. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I feel perfectly ambivalent towards it. It is kind of weird that some of the things in the back of the book synopsis are appearing very late in the book. So typically, the blurb on the back, the synopsis, whatever you want to call it, only encompasses things from the first 20 to 30% of the book. They give you the setup and maybe the inciting incident or some hints at what the inciting incident would be, and this thing that's going to push our character, our protagonist, into the second act and this new world for them. Genuinely, that's how it goes, and that's usually the first 20 to 30% of the book. This synopsis is kind of weird in that the last two sentences don't, like what happens there, they don't show up until so late in the book. So the second to last sentence talks about this competition that's happening turning deadly. That doesn't happen until page 351. And this is a 466 page book, so it is 75% into it, and that's where we get this competition turning deadly. Then it says people begin targeting the club itself, the Mary Shelley Club. That doesn't happen until 89% of the way into the book. 90%, 90 to 95%, granted this isn't like an exact numerical thing, like the numbers shift a little bit, but generally 80 or 90 to 95% is what I'm trying to say. That is where you have your climax. You do not put the climax in your synopsis. That is spoiler territory. Your synopsis is for Act 1. Now there's cars going by. But yeah, absolutely bizarre choice for the synopsis. But like, from the way it sounds on the back of the book, like this book does have a genuine, like, why y'all being loud when you're driving past? It does have like an Act 1, Act 2, Act 3 structure. Like it's structured fine. It's actually very fast paced, but it does feel kind of long. Like I feel like this could have been shorter and even quicker, which it is like kind of thrillery, and I feel like that could have been played up and the pacing gone faster, but that's besides the point. The way these things are written on the back of the book, they feel like it would be the break into Act 2, but in actuality, that's the climax of the book, which is insane, again, I say. Just absolutely wild decision. So, yeah, I don't think I will be keeping this one, which is a shame, because I do really like this cover. I just normally don't keep books unless I really like them, and this one is very middle of the road for me. I will be reading from Goldie Moldavsky again. One of her other books is in my plans for a vlog that you should be getting sometime this summer. I won't tell you what that book is or what the vlog idea is. You'll just have to wait and see. So, like, I will give this author another chance. This book just didn't quite do it for me, and that's fine. I will just go pop it in a little free library and send it off into the ecosystem from whence it came. I'm really upset about all these cars driving by. That is so annoying. But this book, done. The next one I'll be reading, I have decided, is The Lamb. I'm just very excited to get to this because I just keep thinking about Jem talking about this book and how much she loved it. So I'm very excited to crack into this. The vibes are crazy. This says a folktale, a horror story, a love story, an enchantment. And so it's about a young girl and her mother who live in the woods, and it's just the two of them. And they wait for strangers to knock on the door. Strays, Mama calls them, people who have strayed too far from the road. Mama loves the strays. She feeds them wine, keeps them warm, then she satisfies her burning appetite by picking apart their bodies. That's right, friends. We got cannibalism. I love cannibalism in horror books. I think it's fascinating. It feels really weird, but like it's horror. You're gonna get weird stuff. This is also a queer book. I feel it says it somewhere. I feel like it. Maybe it was in the Goodreads tags. I don't know, but it's a gothic coming of age tale, which I think Chlorine, the other book that I got from the library for this vlog, is also described as a coming-of-age horror, so that's cool that I got two of them. I guess the Mary Shelley Club didn't really fit the vibes with that at all either, but yeah, I'm super excited to get into this. It is shorter than the last book. It is 326 pages. So, ooh, just realized there's teeth on the cover. Sorry, that just really distracted me, like genuinely. I did not notice that before. But it's got this nice steak looking thing and some berries and some teeth. Great. I love this cover. There's a couple of different covers for this, but I think I really like this one the best. So, I'll read this probably over the next day or day and a half, knowing how fast I get through books nowadays. But I will start it tonight before bed and give you updates as I go. And hopefully, fingers crossed, I enjoy this more than I enjoyed the Mary Shelley Club. So we will have to wait and see. Hello friends, and happy Thursday morning. It is about 10:30 and I have an update on The Lamb. I am halfway through already. If I'm being completely honest, I read a bit over 100 pages yesterday. Last night my boyfriend went on a bike ride, so I'm like, I've got several hours to myself. Well, why don't I just read? So I put on some records, settled into my cozy chair in the living room, and cracked into this. And then I read about 50 more pages this morning to reach the halfway point. And I'm loving this. This is like exactly my kind of horror. Yes, I do love the like slasher in your face kind of horror, but my favorite kind is the like slow creeping atmospheric kind of horror, and that's what this is. Like, we know about the horror elements right from the very beginning, but like it's not scary, it's just unsettling, you know? And it's so good. I really love the way it's written. The chapters are very short and very fast paced, which are also my favorite kind of chapters. I really appreciate that. I I understand that all stories need to be told in a different way, and sometimes longer chapters fit the type of story that's being written. I just really prefer shorter chapters, so the fact that these chapters are like at most 5 or 6 pages, great. Yeah, I'm really enjoying this. I know that it takes place in England, in the UK, somewhere. I don't know exactly where, it doesn't say, but that's just something I remember Jem saying when she was reading it. But I can't help my inner monologue while I'm reading this from using a slight southern drawl. It just seems to fit the vibe, I guess. But I'm really, really enjoying this. And I do have other things to do today. I'm meeting up with a friend to hang out this afternoon. I've got some writing to get done, some cleaning to do. But you can bet in all of my free moments, I'm picking this back up because I'm just really enjoying it and I'm excited to see where it goes, because we do have like tiny little plot threads coming through and I want to know how it all comes together in the end. So that is The Lamb so far. So, so, so good. I'm really excited to continue on with it. Hello, friends, and happy Friday morning. It is a dreary, rainy morning right now, and it's making me so tired. But I wanted to hop on here and let you know that I finished reading The Lamb. I just finished it literally like 5 minutes ago. I read the last handful of chapters this morning, and this was so, so good. I truly didn't know how it was gonna all end up, because I stopped reading last night, like, right at the start of the final conflict, like, I guess the break into Act 3, and I was like, I do not know what's going to happen, and it did surprise me in how it all ended, but I feel like it was a good ending for this book, and I just really loved this. I think it has a very slow and almost gentle approach to horror, and I really appreciate that. You don't really see that very often. I feel like nowadays horror is all like blam, gore, in your face, and this does get quite gory at times, but it's not excessive, it's not very in your face about it, and I just had a great time. So, Gemma, thank you for putting this book on my radar. It was so good, and I'm so glad to have read it. So that was The Lamb. Now I get to pick up the third and probably final book for this vlog. I do have another horror on my physical TBR that I was thinking about maybe reading, but I usually only do 3 books for vlogs. We'll see. This is probably the last book for this vlog, but there's a teeny tiny chance it's not. Anyway, the book, as I've already shown to you, is Chlorine. It's quite short. It is, I think, less than 300 pages. Acknowledgements. I don't want to read the last bit, but I want to see how many pages you are. 237, so not even 250, wow. But this is a very small font. I do, at least I think I do, have the audiobook also checked out from Libby, so I can listen as I read. I should double check that though. I'm not sure if I actually requested it. I think it was available when I checked, so I just like bookmarked it and didn't actually request it. Hopefully it's still available, because I would like to listen along as I read, because I don't do that as much as I want to. Yeah, this is YA. It's about a not professional, like a swim team member at high school, and the back talks about mermaids, so maybe she turns into a mermaid. I do love transformative horror, like horror about changing and like people becoming other things. I think that's such a cool concept. So I'm very excited to crack into this. I will probably not pick it up for several hours, but I will definitely get started on it tonight. Good morning, friends, and happy Saturday. I'm here to let you know that I finished Chlorine. I didn't come update you in the middle because I, quite frankly, didn't feel like it. I was quite ill last night, and it was like most of the evening after dinner, and even though I had reached the midpoint and I was like, oh, I really should update, but I don't want to be on camera right now, so I just didn't update you, and I'm here to tell you about it now that I finished. I didn't like this. I'm so upset that I didn't like it because it was so promising, but I just have a lot of issues with it. For one, I feel like it should have been more ambiguous. I feel like the ambiguity of the whole mermaid situation would have made this narrative stronger. It's very explicit at times in like what is real and what isn't, but like it's written in a way where like it, why are all of the cars going by now? That's so rude. It's written in a way where it's like trying to be ambiguous but isn't, and then at other points it's like written in a way that's supposed to be clear but it feels more ambiguous. I don't know, the writing style didn't really deliver for me. It's very in your face, which especially after reading The Lamb, which was a very like gentle approach to horror, just was so jarring. I also feel like the like kind of interruptive chapters could have been cut. There's like 4 or maybe 5 chapters that aren't from our main character Ren's point of view. They are actually letters from Kathy, who is one of Ren's swim teammates, also like a friend and potential love interest at times, but like if you're going into this for a sapphic romance, which I was expecting, there's not actually a sapphic romance. There are sapphic characters and they are kind of into each other, but there's no actual romance involved. But I feel like if we cut those letters out and made it just Ren's point of view, just her thoughts on everything, this would have been so much stronger. I also feel like we should have cut right after the transformation, because there is in fact a transformation, and I was like genuinely squeamish about it. I love body horror. Um, I thought that part was well done. It's just that all of the stuff that came after didn't add to the book. It kind of just detracted. I feel like it should have ended on that high note and again left it more ambiguous as to what would happen afterwards. So ultimately, not the best. I did not really enjoy it, but there was enough like potential there that because this is a debut novel, I would be interested in reading more from Jade Song if they put out more books in the future, especially if they're horror books. Because, like I said, there was a lot of potential, it just didn't work with certain decisions that were made in the way this book was told. So, yeah, that. I've decided that this will be the final book in the vlog because I've had 3 Libby holds come in over the past 24 hours, and that is a bit stressful, so I want to get to those and not just add more books to the TBR. So this will be the end. So we've had a book that I kind of don't feel anything about, a book that I loved, and a book that I really disliked but still see potential in enjoying future books by this author. So truly a mixed bag here, honestly. Yeah, that was fun. I'm glad I got to indulge in horror for a week because it is one of my favorite genres and I feel like I don't read it enough. But we have now come to the end of this vlog. If you've enjoyed it despite all of the cars driving by and being annoying, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. You can subscribe to my channel for more content, and that way I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye everyone.